This week on the Fantasy Beer Name Podcast.
Well, then we got word, didn't we, that we might have some celebrities turning up.
Got to the summer house and it was full of kids.
Oh my God, what's wrong with you? This is not the way you start a podcast.
How do you get married to the richest man in the world twice?
You're the filling in their sandwich.
I'm the age stick. Yeah, I remember those pictures. Oh, harrowing.
I think you do.
Episode 2, there was a cat. Now we've got a dog.
That's just eliminated about 1 million people from our...
Yeah. Let's talk about it. People need to know what's in there. Is there fluoride in your beer? Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, welcome to the Fantasy Beer Name Podcast, episode 3.
Hello.
So, following the theme of the previous 2 podcasts, this episode is kindly sponsored by our friends at Mosaic Board Printers, Europe's leading beer mat manufacturer. So, Paul, hello.
Hi, Chris.
Here we are again, but we're somewhere different now.
We've been here before.
We've been here before.
Not
So
doing this.
for those of you watching, you'll see that we are we're locked in a vault somewhere.
For the best.
So we're in. It's not an escape room. It looks a bit like one. But essentially, we've decided to take this on the road a little bit, mix it up, and we are currently sat in the back room vault at the Hot Vault in Stourbridge, Market Street.
And it is actually a vault. It's an old converted bank. So we are sitting in a literal ex-bank vault.
Yeah. 16 taps, craft beer, craft wine, craft whiskey. Where are you? We're here. So today, what we're going to go through, we've got a few things lined up.
We've been around.
Yeah, so we've done Baron
Brewing,
which we'll be talking about today. And then, to be fair, that'll probably take up a fair bit of the first
There's
chunk.
some stories out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll have our fantasy ad break, and then we'll go into our first invite-only beer event.
We are influencers.
Under the
We've officially
influencers,
made
more
it.
like.
Under the...
Yeah.
That's a good joke, wasn't it?
I've been waiting to put that one out. Yeah, so we'll talk about that as well in the second half. I've been thinking about the Misery Corner, or as someone pointed out, we missed a trick not calling it the Doom Bar.
I am gutted we didn't think of that, man. That is so good. The Doom Bar.
The Doom Bar.
Who came up with that? Because they deserve all the credit.
So Steve Power gets the shout out.
Absolute legend, Steve. You're a legend, Steve.
We could actually make this kind of like a regular thing where we just shout out to a listener or viewer and they get their own little jingle. You're a legend, Steve.
I mean, that's going to be the jingle. We're just going to change the name. So.
Yeah. Anyway, pressing on. We'll be starting off with our fantasy beer name. So for those of you who haven't listened, watched, whatever, this before, Fantasy Beer Name Podcast, we start off with our list of fictional beer names.
Yep, which we've created over the years.
Yep, we pick one of those, talk a bit about it, the backstory behind it, where it came from, and then we try and allocate it if we can to a brewery or a style. Now, it's technically your turn to pick one, but I'm jumping ahead and I've already siphoned one off based off, obviously this is releasing along the same time as all the Baron videos are now out.
Yep.
So great beer and branding episode that we did there where we sat down with Jack and talked about the names of the beers and the artwork and stuff, and you had this mad craft Del Boy kind of moment where you were off camera trying to flog him names for off our list, so you were giving the game away a little bit.
I'm really convinced that we can monetize that beer list somehow and sell it to brewers.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's obviously the dream. So I've jumped ahead and I'm siphoning off Bum Egg.
Bum Egg. I knew it was going to be Bum Egg.
So today's episode is called Bum Egg.
Bum Egg.
So I really want you to tell me about the Bum Egg.
As with most of these beer names, I can't remember where we were when we came up with it. But Bum and Egg to me are just funny words. Egg just makes me laugh as a word. I don't know why. But however, I think Bum Egg came from one of 2 places. One was a made-up sex toy that I invented.
I mean, you say made up sex toy. I mean, bum eggs are kind of like a
Yeah,
thing,
but
I
they're
guess.
not
Beads
marketed as
and- well, they're not marketed as
They're
bum.
not marketed as bum eggs, but they should be called bum eggs. So
Yeah,
it's
but
on
this
that.
is a singular bum egg, though.
It's just one bum egg.
Yeah.
I imagine it'd be just the egg shape. It doesn't matter. I won't get into the detail. That's just marketing. That's just detail. The other thing it could be is slang terminology for when you've shit yourself.
Okay, yeah, I can also see that. So, like, used in a sentence, I'm going to try and put two examples of bum egg together. So, if we're looking at like the sex toys sort of thing, Lisa, fetch the bum egg. That
Yeah, quick.
yeah, fetch the bum egg quick. I'm ready to go. And for the second one, oh my god, I've been caught short. I've got a bum egg.
Yeah, or help, I'm hatching a bum egg.
Yeah,
I'm about to hatch a bum egg.
yeah. So
Where's the toilet, landlord?
please, yeah. Don't forget to.
But
Actually, like, I don't know whether to put this in here. I'm gonna say it anyway. But I just went to use the facilities just before because you don't want to be locked in a vault. And
Is this? Do we need to get the lawyers involved?
you don't want to be like locked in a vault and needing a piss. And went in there, and there was a ripe smell. I was like, okay, there's something going on there. But fair enough, it's a toilet. What can you expect? And then I looked down, and it's green, Paul. It's on the inside of the thing. It's slightly submerged, so it's not all under the water. It's sort of a bit
This
hanging
is
out.
grim.
It's green. It looks like
This is not the way you start a podcast.
It's like mashed avocado, and I was like,
Oh my god, what's wrong with you?
What's
wrong with them?
someone isn't well.
Yeah.
And I feel kind of like I want to go around and canvas.
They need to be.
Who was in there?
They need to go to the doctors and have some tests done.
But anyway, accelerating quickly past bum egg, Jack loved
Jack
that
and Aaron,
name.
yep.
So I think if we were going to try and deviate it onto a brewery and a style, I think we'd have to say, well, Jack's probably going to brew a
He's
beer.
already bought it.
Yeah, I think he
We
wants
did a
it.
deal there and then. I said, shake my hand, it's yours. And he just
and
took
it'll
it.
probably be like a 7.2% IPA.
Yeah.
And it'll be packed full of great hops and probably Talus because he loves Talus.
There is another bum egg link to Baron, which we'll come to when
God.
we talk about Baron as well. But yeah, that'll come later. But,
Yeah,
you know, I think bum egg's my favourite so far.
Yeah, we've only done two, but so it doesn't leave a long list. But it's yeah.
No, but you know, the avocado story was not appreciated.
Yeah,
but
man, I don't know if I'm going to keep that in. I mean, I probably will. But yeah, let's talk a bit about Baron then, because obviously the two videos have gone out. We had our Meet the Breweries video where we sat down and had a good old chinwag with Jack, and then we had the beer and branding one. Now, obviously, beer and branding is our little fetishy niche in craft beer. We love it. And yeah, he had some great stories. Genuinely, that was one of the funniest episodes of anything I'd been involved in, because
Yeah,
he just made me laugh. It was so matter of fact about the names, but it seems to be when you asked him where the name comes from, sometimes you ask brewers and they're like, I don't really know. I think I probably just said this and it kind of worked. But with him, it's like, oh, I know a guy who does this, and I called the beer that, like, the Goat Slayer.
He's got a very dry sense
Yeah,
of humour. It was,
so
it was right
dry.
up my street when it came to that. And yeah, we enjoyed Jack's company a lot. He's a good man.
And it's such a great tap room out there, albeit one that you'll probably never. I mean, you could definitely miss it because you just don't know it's there.
So, just for the uninitiated, Baron is a brilliant brewer of classic, really great modern IPAs and pale ales. He does the juicy, hoppy, hazy thing really, really well. But his tap room is on family-owned land. And the reason he's set up there is because he doesn't have to pay rent, which makes complete sense. So he gets the economic benefit of being on family land.
However, off the land, yeah.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Literally the arse end of nowhere. So it's somewhere in the Hertfordshire countryside on a what used to be a working farm. He's built up his own.
I think it's still working farm. I think his dad still farms.
Does it?
Yeah, they still farm.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't hear anything happening. Lazy buggers, they're not.
No, yeah, I suppose you just got to plant the stuff and just let it do its thing.
That's how farming works.
And that's why I'm not a farmer.
Welcome to Planet Farming. So it's in the Hertfordshire countryside. It's surrounded by beautiful countryside and really extravagantly big houses. You know, I imagine it's the go-to holiday home for the big London bankers, the film stars, which we'll come to in a minute.
Our Airbnb was a hall.
Was a hall, yeah. It was actually the stable barn of a massive hall. Which was fantastic.
Which the family was still living there.
Yeah.
And that was quite funny because we saw this when Paul showed me the listing for it and we did it. It's got like this lovely little summer house that's got a dartboard in it and like a little bar and stuff. So we were like, hey, you know, the two of us have access to this. Let's try and film something.
Yeah.
Because why the hell not?
Yeah.
You know, let's try and get another video out there while
Slightly
we're there.
optimistic, really, considering the amount of beer we drank in that day. But we had good intentions.
We did,
Yeah.
but then we got back. So like Jack dropped us back because getting a taxi back from there, like you can get a taxi there. Like a woman just came and picked us up. It kind of felt like we were hitchhiking.
And then she said, I close at 8.
Yeah, I closed
That was
it on a Saturday night.
On a Saturday night, so that we had no way of getting back.
Yeah, so I think Jack dropped us off about 9:30, 10.
Yeah.
So like, well, we picked up some takeaway cans from his, so let's go and check out the summer house. Anyway, got to the summer house and it was full of kids. I say kids, full of teenagers. Yeah, I think it was like results day weekend or something. But kind of wanting to make the point because I think we both kind of felt very middle class offended by it, just sort of being like, well, this was advertised to us as a thing that we could do if we wanted to.
Yeah.
So I made a point because obviously Dutch courage, had a few barons. So I went in and just approached these random teenagers. There's basically one guy in there and just a load of girls.
At this point, when you probably thought you were very cool at that point, but I was watching you staggering around with some teenage girls, and I've got the creeps, to be honest with you, Chris. And I thought this is not going to go down well.
Yeah.
They're going to call the police.
No, I mean, around there, you never know what the police are going to be like. Could be like the American one, when it's like the sheriff. But no, so I went in there and I said, we're sleeping in here. And they went, no, you're not. And it all got quite awkward. And then they asked where I was from.
They thought you were Australian.
And then they said, oh, you sound like you're from Australia. And I went, no, I've had that before.
No Canuck.
But usually, yeah. But usually the people that mistake my accent for Australian are from America. So that kind of tells me a lot about you guys. You guys don't get out much. See real people. They were loaded, those guys.
Yeah, they were just...
People at that house.
Yeah, they're the kids of wealthy families, you could tell. Anyway, now we've insulted our hosts and their families. Let's go back to Baron, because it became quite a surreal day, really.
Yeah.
So the setup, I think, some quite weird things happened. So as we say, the setup for Baron is it's in the middle of nowhere. We were filming pretty early on, right, from about 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we got there fairly early. Yeah,
we got there fairly early, and
consummate professionals that we are.
Because the tap room opened at 12. Jack said, "Don't worry too much about it, because we probably won't get anyone until later on anyway, because we're in the middle of nowhere. If we get anyone at all, it's one of those places where it'll be rammed or it'll be dead, and there's no in between."
I think people have to phone ahead there, don't they?
Yeah.
Just say like, Jack, just to let you know, I am coming.
Yeah.
Because
please stop open.
Yeah, you might just think, well, fuck it.
Yeah. So
not that I'm saying he does. It's just
so we took the opportunity to do a bit of extra filming. We did some B-roll footage. You know, took some exterior shots and interior shots, and that was all nice. And then the first customers of the day turned up. This like nice looking couple. The man in that couple was noticeable by the fact that he was wearing full traditional lederhosen. Full
hat and everything.
Bavarian checkered shirt, the hat with the feather in it, the socks, proper lederhosen, the right shoes.
I think you managed to actually get a shot of this, and I probably didn't put it in, but I'll try and put it up as like a little story. Yeah. Or, in fact, if I do have it, it'll be up on screen now.
So he walks in.
I've doxed him.
You've doxed him.
I've doxed him.
As
shit.
the kids say. So the guy walks in, and we were like, okay, Why is he wearing lederhosen? Interesting choice to be wearing in the Hertfordshire countryside in a tap room in the middle of nowhere.
Pretty surreal. I thought it was like a fancy dress sort of thing.
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. And Jack Barron asked him why he was wearing lederhosen, and he said, because all my other clothes are in the wash.
They're all out for drying, he said. So that's the next thing that
and then went about his day like it was the most normal thing in the world. So that was good. So
yeah, so that was quite weird because even there was Jack's mate was there as well, because it was such like, it was so kind of slacker comedy almost there, because like Jack's mate rocked up and he's working somewhere that, I think it was a shirt print.
He had a print studio around.
And he was just there and he's like, I'm working on Saturday, fuck it, I'm coming for a beer. So he was hanging out for a bit in there, and it was really nice meeting him. Some great shirts.
Yeah.
My Baron shirt's exceptional.
Yeah, good
I think we should get some printed by that guy.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, it was just funny because like he went, I've seen this guy before, just I don't know why he's wearing the lederhosen. So he asked him and obviously got that answer. And he went, and I went, but he's got an accent. He went, yeah, I did ask him about his accent, and he's German. Mm-hmm. So fair enough, right? You're allowed to be German and own lederhosen. If anything, are you a bad German if you don't have lederhosen?
Yeah, bad German.
But it was funny then, because then Jack just chimed in. I was like, German? I thought he was South African. And I just like, isn't he your local? And he's like, yeah, I see him all the time. And I was like, you see him all the time, but you didn't know that he's like, and he went, he's got an accent. I just thought he was South African.
Yeah, everyone with an accent is South African, apparently, or Australian,
like us. Yeah. But yeah, so that was the very first esteemed guest that we had.
Yes.
But I think there was there was definitely a second one.
Well, then we got word, didn't we, that we might have some celebrities turning up.
Accent.
Now, I was quite underwhelmed by it, to be honest with you, but it's always quite novel to see someone you recognise in real life, from recognised off the TV or in a film or something. So we were told that one of the houses in the area was owned by a actress called, I always forget her last name.
It's Tallulah Riley.
Tallulah Riley, yeah, who was an actress in the Centrinians remake movies, I believe.
Centrinians, whatever, Gilmore Girls, I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah.
It's not the Gilmore Girls, but
Golden Girls.
Yeah. Why not?
And Two Girls, One Cup. Was she in that?
I think we'll have to scrub that from the...
Someone could scrub it from my mind. So she owns a house in the area, and so the houses are massive in this area. And the reason she can afford such a huge estate in the Hertfordshire countryside is because, more famously than being an actress, she is the ex-wife times 2 of Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Now, I had no idea this person even existed. Not Elon Musk, I'm aware of him.
He's around, yeah.
But so we Googled her, and yes, sure enough, she'd married and divorced Elon Musk twice in the space of a few years, I think, if I remember correctly.
And like we did ask about, like, how do you get married to like the richest man in the world twice? Mm-hmm. Unlocking the prenup, I think, was maybe the thing. Maybe there was a prenup in the first one.
Yeah,
maybe. I'm speculating wildly here. Probably shouldn't for legal reasons.
Yeah,
but yeah, I thought second time. But then we got told she was very young, and then I looked at the age. I think she's only a couple of years older than me, so she's like 37 or something. And Elon Musk's what, like 50?
Oh, Elon Musk is a massive creep as well.
Fancy that. Who knew? Who knew, right? Who knew? So, the reason was kind of like, well, she was very young. And it's like, oh, okay, so that's why she made that mistake twice, which is fine. But...
or not.
Or not a mistake, yeah.
Judging by the country part.
But I mean, like, we can't really speculate too much on the internet relationship. But I read the Wikipedia sort of stuff on her afterwards, and... I didn't know that I knew of her beforehand, because when I read it, like, I remember she made the news for, like, when he was talking about launching his Twitter kind of takeover, She
That's going well.
She made a public kind of tweet or something saying, because apparently they're still friends. She said like, Elon, you've got to do this. You've got to take over Twitter and fight the wokeness. And I was like, oh no, she's one of those.
No. Well, that kind of gels with my first impressions of the woman. But
She showed up on a horse and cart.
That's the most important bit, right? So
she did. I mean,
she rocks up on literally I would say a pedigree horse. That's not what you call them. A champion breed horse, like a cart horse.
She showed up on a horse, but
beautiful looking thing, being pulled in a vintage cart.
It wasn't like it wasn't like a royal cart. It wasn't covered in gold.
It was shabby chic,
but it looked. I mean, it was chariot-esque.
So that's her selective mode of transport.
But then a fella.
Yes, which was more interesting, I thought.
Because we knew him.
Yeah.
Well, not personally, but...
Fiancé, I think.
Fiancé, yeah.
And again, I can't remember his name because I don't really care that much. But
Thomas Double Barrel name actor who most people will know as Sam from Love Actually, the boy. Or Jojen Reed.
Or Jojen Reed from Game of Thrones. Or a young Paul McCartney from Nowhere Boy.
And Benny from Queen's Gambit.
Crossroads. Oh, shit. No. Not Benny from Crossroads, no.
Benny from Queen's Gambit. Great show.
Never seen that.
It's really good. You should watch it.
Yeah. He turns up in the gaggle of friends on the cart, pulled by the horse, and they're all very nice, all very well spoken, very posh. They're all very horsey. And they order their beer and they're very jovial and they sit down. And
Thomas Brodie Sanger.
Is that the man?
That's him.
Lovely head of hair.
Very young, even though he's not very young.
Yeah.
Like, he's 2 years younger than me. Again, she was 2 years older. I think he's 2 years younger than me. So I was kind of like the middle ground between them.
You're the filling in their sandwich.
I'm the age stick. But he still looks... Well, he looks better for it. He looks like he's 23 rather than 33.
Lovely pair of shoes.
He did. And one of his friends didn't want to wear his shoes at all and just sort of like left. He was walking around barefoot with his just.
They were so
free
spirited. They all took their shoes off. Yeah,
proper.
And then Tallulah owned the place. Woman took a horse through the beer garden and tied it to a tree right outside of Jack's house, made a good show of that. So that was something. And of course, we were filming, weren't we? So we had all our cameras and equipment out, and we were trying to take shots of the exterior, and we were getting death stares from a woman who I assumed was one of their parents.
Well, that was just one of the things. I think they were all friends. I don't know if there's any parents there, but
there was definitely an older woman.
There was a mix of ages. But I remember just saying to Jack and Jack's girlfriend, who is a fantastic, like the food she made for the taproom. Sensational.
She was so good.
Sausage rolls.
Yeah.
Pippa and
Pippa's pulled pork.
Pippa's pulled pork.
Pippa's pulled pork to die for. But
that's a beer name.
I was going to say the older woman in the group was giving us death stares because I think she thought we might have been paparazzi.
Well, that was it. I was trying to make the point to them. Can you just make sure that they're aware that we're not the pap. We're not going around just trying to catch them at a opportunistic craft beer tap room. But no, it was all in all a fairly surreal experience.
But we had to go and take the car back. We didn't have to, but we wanted to take the car back so we could come back and start drinking very heavy beers. So by the time we came back in the taxi that refused to pick us up after 8 o'clock, they'd gone, which you were quite disappointed about because I think you wanted to sort of.
I wanted to get him on for cold ones, and I'm gonna level with you. I think after we've said this, if ever he hears it, he's probably not going to want to do cold ones with us. I mean, it's a new feature that we want to do.
I'll be honest with you, but Thomas Double Barrel
Brodie Sanger. I mean, we should get his name right if we're going to try and approach him.
Probably he's on the top of my list for our new Celebrity Cold Ones feature. However, I feel like him in Game of Thrones.
I feel like you just burnt the bridges with him. I'm like, I've either got to cut this out or keep it in, and I don't know what to do.
It's okay.
Sangster. So I haven't even got his name right anyway. Brodie Sangster.
Thomas Brodie Songstar.
So we fucked all that anyway.
Yeah, so that's dead. Anyway, and then we had our pictures taken with Jack on a threshing machine.
Yeah, that was cool.
Which
That
was
was cool.
quite exciting.
Yeah. I mean, one thing they did say, it was just it's the one thing that they've got there is land and space. So it just ends up being like a graveyard for fridges. There was a fridge graveyard just full of old white appliances.
Yeah, that was weird.
And then it also just loads of big plant machinery, which we thought this would be a good place for a picture.
Yeah.
Very macho.
It was quite a surreal experience to have the sort of tableau of Tallulah, Elon Musk ex-wife on a horse and cart with a load of disposed fridges behind her in a beautiful field as the sun set in the background.
AI couldn't have made it any better.
All you needed was a
generative
man
fill
in lederhosen.
Yeah.
And,
well, that was it.
There we go. That was a nice image.
It's
all
all
around,
there.
really. Yeah.
To kind of, I suppose, bring all this together, I do want to also introduce a little clip that we took from the edit, which I couldn't make it work within it. So I thought, well, what should I do with it? Rather than leaving it on the cutting room floor, as we say in the industry, I'm going to put it out as a bit of exclusive podcast content.
Okay.
So I found this really interesting. So this ties in quite nicely as well with the fact that we're doing the tax reform feature. We're talking about doing
We need a
feature.
sexier name than the tax reform feature.
So what I've got is this little 2-minute clip, which obviously didn't make it into the main edit, but I thought it was just very interesting, and it's a nice little insight into what Jack's up to. So let's listen to that.
With regards to obviously the tax reforms and stuff have come in, and we're kind of looking at that over the next few months just to kind of see how it affects and impacts some of our favourite breweries and pubs and bottle shops. For yourself, as a one-man operation, how's it kind of looking to impact you?
I'm trying not to make it determine what I make. I want to brew regardless of what, even if it costs a bit more money to make what I want to make and what people hopefully want to drink. I don't want it to dictate what's made. I can understand if you make ridiculous amounts of beer, you've got to tailor yourself to it more. But on a small scale, yeah, it might cost a few £100 here and there more to make certain beers, but I'd like to keep brewing what I want to make. That doesn't mean I'm going to make 8.5% double IPAs every day, because that would be insane.
Not when you can get away with just making it 8 or 8.4 and falling under the threshold.
For sure. So you've got to play it right, but
I've got to ask you that actually, is that just an exercise in packaging, or is someone as a brewery changed a formerly 8.5% beer and now they're saying it's an 8.4? Has anything changed in that beer, or is it just the labelling? I don't want to offend any brewers.
I don't think anyone's brewing things differently. I think you can add 10 litres of water more or take a little bit of malt out, but I don't think anyone is. I think that there's also brewing. Even a really good brewery who brews the same beer every week, that'll probably come out 0.1% different each time, just because things are different. Like your malt's going to be very slightly different, your yeast's going to behave differently, your temperatures might be off to that day. So there's plenty of scope for yeah.
But yeah, I found that absolutely fascinating. And it was a question that I kind of, obviously when the tax reform thing came in and you start seeing all the dippers kind of duck from like 8.5 to 8.4, it was also one of those where I was like, got to ask, because I do wonder, like, is there anything different going on there?
Yeah.
And it was quite refreshing actually to hear that. I think one of the ones that set me off on that was like that Belgian beer. I can't remember which one it is, but it's a triple and it says it's 6.66%.
The Duvel.
It's the Duvel, isn't it? Yeah, Duvel 6.66. And I'm like, is it really 6.66? Or is this just some satanic marketing that you want to get yourselves into? So, yeah, I mean, there's no way really you can be that accurate, I guess. Or maybe you can.
Yeah.
But, but it was good to hear Jack talk about that.
Exactly. And I think there'd be a lot of brewers listening to that going, shh. But yeah, Baron, though, just to put a cap on that bad boy. Fantastic brewery, fantastic brewer. Shout out to Pippa as well for, doing most of the hard work, to be fair, Jack, let's be honest. A wonderful team down there, brilliant venue, hard to get to, but make the effort, it's fantastic.
It's definitely worth the effort, I think that's the thing. And Jack's so personable and, like, he wants the feedback as well.
And he does everything.
Yeah.
Except
yeah,
the pulled pork.
Yeah. Well, you get that kind of big farming energy from him, don't you? Like, that kind of is a grafter.
BSE.
Yeah, BFE. Preferable to BSE. But yeah, no, it's that kind of BSE.
Yeah, I get it, but it's only relevant. It's not zeitgeisty, is it?
Well, BSE, it's cows, isn't it?
It's mad cow disease, yeah.
Yeah. Well, farming, that happened on
All right,
farms.
Edwina Curry, can't
That happened on farms.
About 20 years ago.
Yeah, I remember those pictures. Oh, harrowing.
You think you do?
Yeah. It's the Mandela effect. It was actually chickens. It made chicken disease. Everyone just thinks it was cows.
Cows are actually chickens.
Yeah.
Of course, it was worse than I thought.
Anyway, we're getting sidetracked here. I think it's time for the fantasy ad break.
Yay!
Fantasy ad break. Okay, Paul. So this is the feature that we do where we've written a fictional beer-related product / service for the other person to read out. So this week, I believe it's your turn to read the one that I've written for you.
Yep.
So I guess let's press on with that. There's a good one this week. It's very dry and very boring.
And now, time for a word from Planet Beer TV's fantasy sponsor.
If you've ever worked in a tap room or just love enjoying those thick, lip-smacking smoothie sour beers, then you'll know the struggle of dealing with those stubborn, sugary foam marks left behind on your glassware. Well, great news. The solution to your problem is finally here. Introducing the Smoothie Sour Glass Wash 432, the specialist glass washing machine designed specifically to tackle the stubborn suds left on the inside of your favourite glass. Now, I don't purport to know how it works, but it swirls out sold glassware at a frequency of 432 Hz, instead of the industry standard of 440 Hz. This sonic shift is perfect for loosening up froward foam and sugary skidders, meaning you won't have to wash a glass more than once, or worse, by hand. Thanks to the Smoothie Sour Glass Wash 432, your glasses will be cleaner and warmer than ever, so you can slurp your thickly sweet goop guilt-free. The Smoothie Sour Glass Wash, where stubborn stains go to die. Part 2.
Part 2. Welcome back to part 2.
Welcome.
Was it welcome back to part 2 or just welcome to part 2? Because
Doesn't really
we
matter.
never left part 2.
That's true, actually. Welcome to part 2.
Welcome to part 2.
This no procrastination rule's going quite well, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
We're on a tight time schedule,
Yeah.
but we're...
Should we start again?
No.
Okay.
No.
Anyway, what we
keep
drinking?
going. We haven't got time.
Yep.
This is Cloudwater Dipper V14,
The new.
the triumphant return, and this is on keg at Hot Vault at the
Yep.
moment.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We really haven't got time to talk about it, but you know.
I mean, by the-
welcome return back to the
Yeah,
original
yeah. By the-
original beers, I think.
By the time this goes out, it'll be long gone in the ether.
Not from my fridge. I've got cans of it.
You do have cans. I drank my can. I only got the one.
Yeah, but you didn't care. So, right. What we're going to talk
Yeah.
about? I'll tell you what we can talk about.
Go on.
Now we kind of a big deal because we got invited yesterday, as
Yeah.
we're filming this, on a Tuesday night, on a school night. We got invited to a launch party for a brewery called Attic, and if anyone knows Attic, they're a Birmingham-based brewery from Sturchley,
Yep.
a suburb of Birmingham, famous for Intuition.
Lovely people as well.
Lovely, lovely people. So yeah, the Intuition Pale is getting a lot of coverage in a lot of places all around the country.
It was on that one of those breakfast shows. I think it was like as part of like a core pale range thing. There was-
breakfast show.
yeah,
BBC News?
Saturday Kitchen.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm talking. Yeah.
Oh,
like
okay.
a-
Not like
fuck, no, not literally breakfast. Saturday Kitchen.
not
or
Nagger Manchester just getting absolutely blasted on pale ales. But,
would pay to see that.
yeah, she's not going to come on cold ones. Right. So yeah, so we went to their launch party yesterday at a venue called the Bun and Barrel in Harborne, Birmingham.
Yeah.
For their new core lager called Forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually got a. I've still got that.
So it was us and other luminaries of the beer influencing world.
Got it. There it is.
I'm 40.
It's okay for those.
I'm saying I'm an influencer. What a prat.
For those listeners, I was just reaching into my pocket to pick up the. There's a dog.
There's dogs barking in the background. Ignore it.
Episode 2, there was a cat. Now we've got a dog.
Next week it'll be a shot.
We're just being followed by pets But anyway, this is the Attic Forward Lager, 4.2%.
I guess everyone
Very
who's listened to
nice.
this on podcast, fuck you, because you can't see what that is.
You can't see it, but I'm basically holding up a beer mat that's got the artwork on, which is pretty cool. Inspired by Spaghetti Junction.
Yes, so we heard, yeah. So we had a good chat with the gang at Attic yesterday. The lovely Kath Webber, who is their sales guru, who's doing a cracking job, I think, getting Attic's name all over the place at the moment. And then we spoke to Ollie, who's co-founder of Attic, and we also spoke to their head brewer Sam. It is Sam, isn't it?
I hope so, I don't know.
I'm Sam. If it isn't, sorry, but your name's now Sam. Please speak to us.
He was so cool as well. Like
he's such a dude.
We're going to have to do like podcast on the road again. We'll take it over to the barrel store, I think.
Yeah.
Because he was the sort of guy that you could just have on. And he had some great takes, some really fascinating stuff. And also, it's good for the brewers out there as well because he's got knowledge.
Yeah. And I think what was really interesting is, one, let's not kid ourselves, it was a corporate event last night to promote a launch of a new beer. And, we got to try it, and no word of a lie, we thought it was a really, really good, solid lager. I've
got no problem endorsing it. It was a great beer, and I think I said to you at the time, and I said to the guys as well, because I can't stop talking about the lager feature that we did. But yeah, that would have been it was bad timing because that beer would genuinely, I think, have thrown us because it was
when you're comparing it to macro lagers, you mean?
Yeah. Because it's got that kind of, and I did kind of caveat this with Sam, head brewer. Hopefully his name's Sam.
It is now.
Yeah, we're calling him Sam. Yeah, but yeah, I did say with him, I don't want to say a macro quality because obviously that insinuates a certain thing. But what I mean is, it's commercially viable. It's got that kind of taste where every person that likes lager, that your Carlin drinkers, your great unwashed, they could have that, and they would.
That's just eliminated about 1 million people from our podcast listenership. I can't even say listenership.
Well, to be fair, we've alienated celebrities. Why stop there?
And everyday people.
Yeah,
we're doing quite well so far.
We're just the big kind of,
yeah. So the event yesterday was really good. So we got fed and watered. We had like one of the best burgers I've ever eaten.
The Bun and Barrel were exceptional.
So the venue, the Bun and Barrel. If you're ever in Hardboiled, go. Their burger menu is pretty massive and it's awesome. And we had an incredible beer-based burger. So everything was made from beer.
They'd taken their the Bun and Barrel kind of base burger, their thing, and they had, with some suggestions from Attic, kind of beerified it, I guess. There was some like beer reductioned jus and some
beer cooked onions. And
beer cooked onions.
It was all going on.
It was excellent. But what I really loved about that, the burger's got to have texture. Like you've got to be able to bite into that and go, I'm getting crunch and I'm getting a bit of chew in there, like the meat's falling apart.
It was really, really great food.
And also, you flagged it and I was like, yes, that's the thing that is subliminally on my mind and I wasn't thinking of. There was like this essence of pickled onion all the way through it, and that acid element was just cutting through the burger. Why can't I talk about beer like this? The description of burgers.
Your face there just went into like a place of pure joy for a minute. There.
It was a fantastic burger, and the beer was great as well. So I think what was testament to the beer is the fact that I had that burger and I felt really full afterwards. Yeah. But I still drank 3 pints of Forward after it. Now, usually, eating would write me off.
Yeah,
I'd be like, I can't fit another thing in. But carried on drinking those pints of Forward, and not because we were, invited there and I was being polite. Yeah. It was because it genuinely was so light, and I could have smashed it.
I was definitely drinking beer last night to be polite. Yeah.
Whatever you want to tell yourself.
Yeah. But it was great, and same as you, Chris. I had 3-4 pints of it, I think, and I could have carried on, to be honest with you, but we got kicked out.
We did get kicked out because Olga kicked us out.
Olga,
she was great though.
Brilliant bar manager, I think she was, and she
she
took control of the situation, kicked us all out.
Stern, fair, and lovely with it.
Yeah.
You know,
So it's just a
was-
load of influencers on the street looking uninfluenced.
Well, that was the thing. I was a bit kind of
hesitant.
hesitant to start with because obviously this is the first private kind of beer event that we've been invited to.
Do you feel like you've influenced?
I don't know. We haven't done any of that element yet, haven't we? We've got to write a post on Friday, haven't we?
We've got to do some kind of influence. I don't know how this thing works,
That's-
but if anyone out there wants influencing, just let us know. We'll come and influence you.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I was a bit kind of trepidatious about it just because I wasn't sure what to expect, and also you're going along to these things, and you've got to be able to say afterwards, "I endorse the products."
Yeah.
And like, you know, craft lager is a very edgy thing,
Yeah.
and it could have been so easy for that to have not been
Yeah.
a great craft lager.
Yeah.
But
We don't want to come across as some weird corporate shills.
yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's the thing, you know,
not really sitting very well with us, is it? That kind of
no. Well, we're struggling. Obviously,
promotion,
we've got our partnership with Mosaic for this, who are, you know, basically they've stumped up a bit of cash just so we could source some podcast gear, and then obviously we've got our partnership with Bruiser. Now, obviously, Bruiser, we got talking to them based just solely off the fact that we did a video with them and we're members of Bruiser, like we subscribe to it, and now we're good friends with the guys from it, and it's a product that we can endorse, and we're fine about that. And there's also this kind of element where they help us get in contact with breweries, where, you know, a channel that doesn't even have 1,000 subscribers on YouTube reaching out to a brewery. It doesn't matter how good your videos are.
Yep.
We know our videos are pretty good, but there's still that element of breweries are busy, and also everyone must ask them to, you know, can I come along and film for my YouTube channel? Everyone's got a YouTube channel. Everyone's got a podcast now, you know. So it's having Bruiser on board as our kind of sponsor as well has really kind of lent us a bit of just credibility and a bit of quid pro quo. You know, we can push Bruiser because we believe in the product. They can help us get in touch with some breweries like Baron. You know, Jack, we landed him through Bruiser, and it's great that we've got that kind of working partnership.
Yeah.
So that's basically me explaining why we're not corporate shills.
But yeah, and nor will we ever be unless there's a power washing company out there who wants to give me a free power washer because my patio is covered in pit and shit, and I can't be asked to do anything with it.
That was so blatant.
You don't actually don't get. All right.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I'm trying to think now, what could I do with hard drives?
Don't follow me down this dark path.
I mean, yeah, I could really do with hard drives to master off all the footage that we've started.
No, you don't want to keep your dignity. I'll take all the free stuff on your behalf. Don't worry.
No.
My dark side has happened. But back to Attic. So we spoke to Sam, who was really knowledgeable. You know, he's a really clever
And he was
guy.
a brewer with a mullet.
He's a brewer with a mullet.
Although he did say he was getting rid of the mullet, which I'm not necessarily in favour of, I think.
So he's like, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, fuck yeah. Brewer with a mullet.
But he was great, but he was like very science focused, very chemistry led, and he would talk to us in depth about very specific things. And
did the same course as Jack, interestingly.
He did, yeah. And he talked to us about water chemistry, which typically would make me go, oh, someone over there need to speak to.
No, that shit is genuinely interesting.
But he made that cool as fuck.
Yeah.
They just had him so interested to the point where we both went, we need to do a feature on the difference water makes.
I think what it is, it's the fact that, and we can obviously explore this in a video because we're going to, but the water chemistry, the water pH scale, it's the same as it is in Birmingham as it is over in Pilsen, which is obviously the home of the Pilsner in Czech.
Oh,
so
that's why it's called that.
How fucking good? Yeah, very good. How fucking good would it be to do a video just focused on water chemistry and like the importance of water in a beer? Because let's be honest, 96% of that is water.
Yep.
So let's talk about it. People need to know what's in there. Is there fluoride in your beer?
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that, to be honest with you. prove me wrong, anybody who knows more about this, but apparently the fluoride in water thing originated in Birmingham and the Midlands in particular because people in our area had really bad teeth. So the government had to start putting fluoride in it, and it was due to the people in the Midlands.
It seems entirely fair to me.
I know, but as a proud Black Country person, I find that's hit me pretty hard.
Yeah,
although it's not entirely unfeasible.
You know that the Black Country are definitely included in that, but you're totally not owning up to it. You're like, nope, they said Birmingham. They said Brummies.
He did say Birmingham, but I think he just meant the area in general.
No, there is some fascinating stories to come from that, because obviously didn't like Birmingham just so happen to flood Wales.
Yeah,
just
so the reason we've got
giggles.
so many canals in Birmingham is because we didn't have any actual access to natural water here, so we basically flooded a few villages in Wales and turn them into reservoirs and then flood the water into Birmingham. So, sorry, Wales.
Yeah, I mean, not to upset Ollie at Bruiser, but good riddance, really. So anyway.
Anyway, so sorry, Wales, and, apologies to people in Birmingham saying you've got really terrible teeth.
We'll pay reparations eventually. Anyway.
Just the way it goes.
On that note, I guess we'll close this episode.
Well done.
Thank you very much for listening. You can find us. We didn't do an episode on the Misery Corner.
Well, there's nothing
to talk about.
Although,
it's all very happy.
Although, as we say this, Birmingham City Council has basically declared bankruptcy due to mismanagement of reparation payments, actually.
to Wales.
Yeah, not to Wales, to actual humans. So
even better.
I didn't mean that. I meant not to a country, to actual people.
So I think we should probably wrap up episode 3 now. I think we've kind of gone as far as we should. I think we're talking ourselves into lawsuits and all sorts of stuff. So, thank you very much for listening to this one. You can find us on all the major platforms such as Spotify, YouTube, Google.
All those. That's
YouTube. I mean, YouTube's our OG platform. You should definitely, if you only listen to us, you should also look at us and go onto our YouTube, like and subscribe. And yeah, thank you very much. We'll be with you again with episode 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
The Fantasy Beer Name Podcast is brought to you by Planet Beer TV. This episode was recorded by Luke Bartlett with mix and sound design by Jake Healey. Thanks once again to our wonderful sponsors, Mosaic Board Printers.